conversation, what I'm not hearing is our foster parents and how our foster parents can take part in all of what you are talking about. As I sat here, I'm going to just give you a little aside. As I sat here and looked at your agenda and I saw all of the topics that are going to be discussed today, I'm thinking, how can I bring this back to the population that I serve? How can I, when parents are not able to provide for their children for whatever reason? It could be homelessness, it could be domestic violence, just some of the things that you were talking about. All those things do account for why children are removed from their homes. When that happens, we look to our community to help raise those particular children. And Gwen is correct, we have a disproportionate number of African American children and Latino children in foster care. We do recruit foster and adoptive families on a statewide level, but also within our catchment, which is the New Haven, Milford area. We're out at community events. We have open houses on a weekly basis. But what we're looking for is someone who is able to open up their hearts and homes to provide a stable, loving environment in the interim while parents are doing what they need to do to get their children back in their home. That's our first goal, our first and foremost goal. I was talking earlier to Denise and to Rosalind about a visit we had on yesterday from our commissioner. Commissioner Katz has now been in office close to a year. January will be a year that she was actually sworn in as our commissioner. And she came in with wonderful, wonderful ideas and new ways for the department to do things. And she said it and she meant it, and it actually does make sense. We've been so far behind for so long that it is time for us to catch up to what really needs to be done. And when I say that, I'm saying her role or her push for us is to take a better look at our relative families. We know that our children, no matter the color, do better in relative care. So yes, we're looking for our foster and adoptive families, and yes, they're providing loving and stable environments, but we also know that if a child is connected to their relative, they're going to still stay connected to that mother, to that father, and that family can still wrap around that child and give them those things that they need. In saying that, we've lifted quite a few things that were preventing relative people, our relatives, to come forward to become licensed caregivers. We are now doing a better look at families. We're assessing them, what used to happen previously. If someone was involved with the department 10, 15 years ago, there was a substantiation, just to use that particular word. What that means is there was an allegation, someone went out and investigated, it was found to be true that these allegations had taken place. That blemish on a relative's record prevented them from stepping forward to provide care for their sister's child, their brother's child, their aunt's child. And we were looking at that particular history and saying, no, we're sorry, we can't move forward because of what happened 10, 15 years ago. Well, the commissioner's push has been, we understand that, but we also understand that there's hope and there's change. And when people go through change, good things happen. And families, once again, are the best place for these children to be. So I want you all who are supervising the foster care department, I want you to take a better look at these people, do what we call an assessment. Take a look at that old record, sit down and talk with that family member and find out what's going on today, what has changed from 10, 15 years ago that now will make us feel a little bit more comfortable about placing another child in your home. And what we're finding is people who may have been involved with us 15, 20 years ago have no longer been involved with us. There has been some hope, there has been some change. If there was a drug history or criminal history, there's been a 10-year gap where there's no history whatsoever. We're taking a look at these things. We're not saying that, okay, you murdered someone 10 years ago, we're going to put somebody in your house. We are still looking at stuff, but we're looking at it with a better eye. And we're looking at it with that understanding that, yes, children do fare better with family. So I say that to say, we are at a place where we are reaching out to our community. We're building better partnerships. We are engaging our families at a different level and at a different rate, because we also know that when that decision has to be made for a child to be removed from their home, it should be a family decision. Because when we're sitting down and we're talking about the issues within that home, we also want to talk about who in this family can step up to help assist that child. If that kid has to be taken out of that home, maybe Aunt Susie can be that support And Mom, we want you to tell us who it is in your life that you trust and support, and you want that trust and support in order to help raise your child. So these are some of the things that we're moving toward. We are really working diligently at making that happen. Our numbers as it relates to relative providers have gone up a good 5%. We are at 18.8% in our catchment of New Haven. We're excited about the work that we do. As I indicated, we are assessing. We're not saying everything's been lifted, but we are assessing, and we are taking that time to really listen to our families so that when we make that decision, it's a joint decision, it's a collaborative effort, and it's not just the department saying this is what's going to happen. So we have some information that's been provided in your bags on foster care. You know, you may not necessarily have a relative that you may want to provide for. There may be somebody else that's in the school system, someone that you know in your church, that may be struggling, that needs some supports. And if that kid unfortunately gets removed from that home, you can step up and say, I want to be that resource. So there's information in there that will give you a phone number where you can call and just say, I want more information. We'll invite you to an open house. We'll sit down and we'll talk to you about what those regulations are as to the requirements for licensing. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to speak with me afterward. Any questions? Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Working with you on this issue.
Absolutely.
Because it's very appropriate. A child needs you, and our children need us as adults to make responsible decisions to ensure that they have a fair chance at life. I didn't say life was fair, but they need a fair chance at life. And I also saw this cute little girl right here. No, I'm sorry, it's a smart and cute little girl. How old is she? Dr. Akapalu from Y Science. And then we're going to hear from Pastor Eccles.
I just did that. My name is Yvonne Akapalu, and I'm a CEO and founder of Y Science. Today we're in the midst of a STEM renaissance. STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics renaissance. Because what has happened is that in order for a country to stay competitive, we need much more efficient ways to teach math and science. And STEM has been something that we as a nation have focused on very strongly for about 57 years now, 54 years. Since 1957, when the Soviet Union, USSR, launched Sputnik, our federal government put a lot of emphasis into STEM education. And what happened is that scientists and educators were brought together to harness the power of television, which was a new medium at that time, to improve instruction. And that's the model that has been followed to this day. Now, we're 54 years on after Sputnik. A third of our nation's fourth graders are basically below proficiency levels in science. They're not proficient in science. 30% of 8th graders and 12% of 12th graders are above or below proficiency levels in science. So we've spent a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars over 54 years, and we are lagging behind. And you see China, India well, way ahead of us right now. Actually, 10 years ago, we were afraid that they were going to pass us, and now they graduate more scientists and engineers than we do. And in these vulnerable communities, it's even worse because our kids don't even get the quality education to compete. We know what to do. Okay, that's no secret. We have many reports out there, many studies. Okay? And if you look at all the reports and studies, what stands out is that we are not engaging our students in the classroom. We are not doing that effectively. And if you go through and you look at the data, there are two key areas that students need help with to learn. First is learning to learn skills. Educators know this. Learning to learn skills are skills that help a student maximize a return on investment on instruction. So if it's 2 hours of instruction, if the instructor teaches thinking skills during the lesson, the child is going to learn more. So there's going to be, since I'm a business person, a return on investment in that time that the child spends learning. And then the second one is core science, technology, engineering, mathematics skills, which are inquiry. Inquiry is essentially figuring something out, designing a scientific investigation to figure something out, and also to analyze the results of that investigation and present your understanding of the results and the findings. The other thing is reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So at Y Science, what we've done is we've created a technology, software, Adventures with Polly and Merv. So I gave you the flyer. Does everybody have that?
Get a picture of it.
And we actually wanted to demo it, but later on we can do that. I have my technology manager here. He's going to be the future CTO of Y Science.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
I love you, and he's here to explain the technology. So these characters.
Does everyone have one of the flyers?
Okay, so these characters.
No.
So what I did is I'm more of a designer, and I design and draw the architect, and then Prayers makes the software. So this is the green character is Polly, okay, and this is Merv. So I created these two characters to STEM as holistic STEM teachers, parents. So everything that the Department of Education has told us works over the past many years, and my own experiences in workshops to test these various aspects of engaging students in the content. So regardless of what content the teacher delivers, these two focus on the learning to learn skills and the core STEM skills and development because of the way the software is structured. So then what happens is that when the teacher delivers the content, that aspect. So we are very excited because in 2012, starting probably January, February, we are going to pilot the software in Arizona and in Connecticut, and also just recently in Indiana. And I really believe that a lot of schools in the state of Connecticut can benefit from this. And this is why I'm so excited about the partnership with Connecticut Parent Union, because when Gwen and I talked about this 3 months ago, we were working on this, right? And during this time,
round the clock.
And during this time, the software has been, the development has been occurring. So I'm here because I really believe that this could be a benefit to existing programs and could also help us close the achievement gap. And the two reasons why we're going to be doing the pilot is to help educators use this tool to basically ignite a passion for learning, lifelong learning in every child, and also develop the 21st century thinking and learning skills that are sought by employers. Our kids are competing with India and Chinese students, okay? So they need a global education, and this whole purpose of Adventures with Polly and Merv is to give them that global education, regardless of race, color, national origin, income, or whatever. Even if they look green, they should have a quality education. And I'll stop here, and I'll give
Thank you.
a hug because I'm so excited, and I also like to have Prayers to say a few words about the technology.
Feeling the energy and the enthusiasm around the concept of learning to learn. Learning to learn essentially as a skill, personally, and for all my brother and sister, it's been extremely critical part of our career, and just in terms of where we are, who we are. At a point in my career, I had the challenge to change my vocation. I started off as a creative professional. I was an architect at one point in time, and I decided software was a field I wanted to get into. But as an architect, being creative, you have some parts of technology, some engineering, and some science intrinsically. So at that point, I somehow, maybe intuitively and just from my environment, happened to learn how to learn new things, and it was a complete retooling of my skill set, and it was extremely valuable, and I find that very well ingrained in the framework that we are trying to build for Y Science. So in terms of the software, what it does is it enables students from all walks of life, from all grades, even if it's a 4-year-old or if it's a PhD student. we are planning to build the software and the platform such that a student can, on their own, absorb how to learn. So new areas of life. It could be something in the field of science, could be creative, could be anything. It's just generic enough. You know, Yvonne has given us such a great direction in terms of keeping it generic enough so that you don't get focused into a certain type of skill set. But it's a software that will allow you to keep on learning, keep coming back to it. If you want to learn a new subject, if you want to learn a new aspect of just knowledge and education, and we're having a great time, you know, working with Yvonne and building the direction for it. Also, there are aspects, social aspects to the software that lets students engage with other students who are also learning with you from the website. So a lot of people these days are on Facebook, for example. So they connect, they collaborate in person as well as online. So this sort of system, we have a vision to let students connect with other students of similar interest and work together and grow together, and to get to a point where, you know, they have learned something new in life and keep learning through their life. You know, even at learning never stops. Even if you're 80 or 90, you can still have the opportunity to learn new things, and this is what we're trying to achieve. So hopefully, you know, when we do our demo, you would get a look at it, the first look at this software, and hopefully be the user of it sometime in the future as well.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So as we wind up and be going to the goodies, just so you know how important your children are to us. And what's your name? You're from?
Cynthia. I'm from, I was born here in New Haven, but I just came from Puerto Rico.
All right. I have something for you. I left it at home, but I got to make sure I get it back. Are you at Life Haven?
Yes, I am.
All right. And what's your daughter's name?
Her name is Angelise.
Hi, Angelise.
Say hi.
Yes, we're all here to get you ready to get your high school diploma. And what is your name, ma'am? Brittany. And what's your daughter's name?
Madison.
Hi, Madison. She said, who's Stranger Danger? Stranger Danger. That's right. So just so you know, as we travel the state, talk Head Start Center. But each parent, and you'll get one of these, Madison's mom and you're Angelina. Angelise, mom. So as we travel, we're going to help parents start to think not only about kindergarten, just trying to make it through next day, but we really are preparing their future. I mean, we really are. So when I saw these banks, look, Judy, you cannot. These are banks, and it can start. Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
So, and I like subliminal messages. I like when things tell a story. So, Mom, when you're in your room tonight, the story is we're getting Madison ready, not just to graduate through life, right? Because we phase, little stages, right? So we're not thinking automatically shoot for thinking to high school graduation. It's a goal, but we know we have to take care of her needs even as of tomorrow. So this bank we will be presenting to you. So every little penny counts. One of the gentlemen that came here, do you know if we save $1 a day, we have $365 at the end of the year? I didn't think of it like that, right? Because we're so busy really literally counting our pennies. And Margot, which is a parent in Meriden, she says, Gwen, I don't see gas in your gas tank. And I'm like, I like to give a shout out to pennies because I'm going to put them all together and I'm going to the gas station. That's the reality, but I'm grateful for employment and having the ability to save. So this is going to be for Madison and I'm going to get this right, Angelina. Angelise. Yes. All right, teamwork, you got to help me. So each one we're going to get a bank. I also spoke to Citizen Bank and Liberty Bank. And so they have college savers programs. So as we continue to work with funders and communities, we want to be able to help you start a savings account for them. And we're going to, the initial deposit is $25. So the Connecticut Parents Union will help you start a savings account for your children. And then we're going to come back to you. We're going to find you wherever you are to see how the saving is going, and also to support you so that you're able to support your children. Now, they're also will be getting these books. I love messaging. So even if you didn't look at kindergarten, the bottom line is we need to get ready, right? So let's get ready, whether it's for preschool. If you're pregnant, you do have pregnant women here. They're getting ready for birth and what comes forward. We have books, Let's Get Ready for first grade. And for those parents, as we travel the state, because we're in some high schools and middle schools, we need to prepare our children for life. Schools and communities are places of lifelong learning. It doesn't stop when the class bell rings. It doesn't stop after we come out of a domestic violent relationship. It doesn't stop when we decide that we're no longer going to substance abuse. It's not going to stop when we finally get on our feet. Life continues to go, and we have to be able to meet life head on and work together as a community. We are not islands. We should not pretend that we are, and we know we can work together. If it wasn't for people like Judy, hearing about Boost, working with DCF, and believe me, for those who know me, I was like, DCF is the enemy. But then, because I'm coming from a parent's perspective and based on experiences. But as I got to know people, got to understand the intent and creating venues so that they heard what I had to say as a parent, we're clearly seeing the improvement in our schools and our community. So when we leave here today, I want us to think not just about blaming what's not working. We know what's not working. We don't have to figure it out. The question is, what are we going to do from this day forward to improve our shelters? Make sure we have places for kids to lay their head. CBS just had a special where we had families living in the cars. Those are realities of today. So we're here to support you, Life Haven. You're our shelter that we're working with. But you're also, I'm a parent like you. I get it. I get the same headaches you get. The kids, you know, you want to pull your hair out. But we're here to support you. So we'll also be giving you Let's Get Ready for Kindergarten. Because even though they're only 2, we need to start introducing them to the world of words. And that is why everything on the bus is about words, sight words, previews. And the work that I work with Maria at Gazelle, we want to encourage you to read to your children, talk to them. Talk, talk, talk. My son gets so tired of me. He doesn't even want me to watch the Bambi movie, right? Because he says, you're going to find a message, Mom. Really? I can't even watch any movies with them. They say, here she goes. And so, talk, talk, talk. Just continue to have conversations. And if you need us, you can call us. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for being on the bus. And Daquan is going to give us a special presentation for those who have to leave. And there's only one male on the bus, so it's going to be for Elijah. We are giving out ties to young men. Because I did a random poll and realized, do you know how to tie a tie?
No, but my husband does.
See? But her husband does. So I said, do you know how to tie a tie?
Yeah, I was awake.
Judy? I never thought about that. Here I have 3 boys. And I like to give a shout out to clip-ons. Because I was good with the clip-on tie from Walmart. But imagine if you don't have access and someone gives you a tie for an interview, a job interview, or unemployment rates. Getting them ready for college. Right? If a tie comes in your hand, you're not going to say, because I don't have a clip-on. You're going to work it out. So Daquan is going to give us a lesson on how to tie a tie. And again, he learned it from the Victory House. He's looking at, are you working it out, Tucker? Okay, I'm working it out. So we're going to give Elijah a tie. And does anyone here have any young men in the house?
I have 2 boys.
You have 2 boys?
I actually have 5 kids.
You have 5 kids? Oh, well, guess what, Mom? We are in tie mode right now. We are going to learn how to tie a tie. Mr. Willie?
I know how to tie a tie. I used to dye my dad's ties.
Okay, so you're showing off to me. So you want everybody to know that I don't know. Okay, so she knows how to tie a tie. Elijah, Mom did not teach you how to tie a tie, and neither did Dad, but we did give a shout out to the clip-ons. Give us credit for the clip-on ties. All right, so Daquan is going to show us how to tie a tie. To learn how to tie a tie. Miss Cynthia is looking at her ties for her son, and then we're going to get started.
Can I show you this one?
Yep, you can ride with me. Okay, let me, this is my time. I thought it was banging. Wait.
Jump. Yeah, good girl. Come on over here, sweetie.
Yes, right. Yes. I want to see if she got something to give you. Did she go outside? Okay. Well, I want to see if she got something to give you. All right.
Thanks, sweetie. Come here. Come on.
I think I did it wrong.
You did it right. You gotta make sure the other one underneath is. That's how you make it comfortable fitting in there.
You have to practice that.
It's fun to practice, you know, because you didn't really. I used to do my dad's nice sandwich. It took me a while to get it. So you tell me it was all messed up. You did a good job. You made me fix it. And then one day I got it good, and he was like, I forgot to fix it. Thank you. It took me a couple Sundays.
I would like to introduce you to our operations person at Gazelle. He takes very good care of us. How is our bus?
Very nice. I like your bus.
And we have some giveaways. I was supposed to get beautiful bags that we will be raffling off.
Oh, I like those.
Okay, all right, great. So we'll do. All right, thank you so much.
I want to be able to take something and let them have their own personal package. Absolutely. Okay. So we'll give you an actual whole package. This is a full complete. There we go. One of the bags. Okay. Okay. One of the veins. Okay. That's for us too.
Yep, so you can see them all. And I was going to make your packet, but you can put that in it, but I'll make your packet separate. So you have your
Okay. All
okay,
right.
just on the bus. Hi.
I'm going to move past
Okay,
you. I'm
yeah.
going to get
So how we
Well, after the activity, we had to answer a challenge question was, what is the difference between aluminum, paper, and plastic? And now, what was the difference between plastic and the aluminum paper? And at first, I thought it was a trick question because I thought it was molecules, but the answer was molecules because what we was learning about was the exact answer what the challenge question was. And right now, after this video, we were gonna make the goo because I answered the trick question. And the lady that been teaching me is she's from Y Science, and she is a science teacher at I think at an 8th grade school. And that's what we was doing. That's why I had the glasses on, get ready to make me some goo. On the computer, she also has a software package that you can purchase, and it'll be very interesting for the kids. And she also has a website where you can go and challenge yourself on one of the websites and games, and like that would be very interesting for the kids.
presentation I'm doing is in regards to college readiness for our students, helping them prepare for college, starting freshman in school and even taking the 2 years in college. Make sure we follow them, making sure they're keeping up to the plan. If they need any adjustments, we're there to help them, help support them, making sure that they complete the 4 years of college that they need.
To be making the presentation today.
Well, I think it's important that we give our parents options. Options is something that a lot of our parents don't have. We have to, a lot of parents, there's a lot of information that is out there that parents just don't understand. The proper process to go about for college readiness, starting off of your freshman year, the classes that the child needs to have, making sure that you're completing that, SATs, ACTs, sending out letters to colleges for people that might be that we know can help our students. There's a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of free funding out there, and one of the things is we just don't know, and the only way we're going to know is by making sure this information gets out.
There are a lot of parents here with small children. Is it even too premature for them to get involved with something like this?
It's never premature to get involved with anything. At least they'll have a good idea on when they get to their 8th or 9th grade. I think you need to truly understand what type of child you have, whether they're working good with their hands, whether they're good with reading books or mathematical equations or whatever. It doesn't mean that they have to go to college. It means they can go, they probably a vocational scenario for them. But there are two options, and what we need to do is parents need to definitely start getting involved, because they need to truly understand their child and understand what their child wants and help guide them in that proper direction.
Soccer moms, the stereotypes are soccer moms, brownies, bake sales, pizza parties. But when it comes to talking about reading levels, when it comes to talk about is my child ready for college, they're not really having those conversations. And our kids lose when we don't have that conversation. So I started 'Tis the Season to Be Reading. Last year I brought in authors from across the country. Washington, Chicago, they visited high schools, they visited middle schools, and I figured, wait a minute, but we're still at the end of the conversation with all of this parent engagement. We love parents, and I believe they do. So the question is, who is the U.S. Department of Education Secretary? He is the highest in education. He works right under Obama regarding education. Okay, we're about to have a lesson because we need to know who makes the decision. Arne Duncan is the U.S. Department of Education's secretary. He is the second in command on education other than the president. He's his right-hand man. So you know what I had to do, because I had to let him know who we were, right? Wash and Hopeville. So I gave him a call. I gave him a call. I had a chance to go to the White House 2 weeks ago. So I went to the White House, and then I went up there. And I said, I need you to come see what we're doing in Connecticut. So we're launching a Parent Express. Because what Arne did in Chicago, he had a U.S. Department of Education bus just like this, traveling all through the Midwest. Education and economy. Because let's be very clear. Your child's future is contingent on his education. I can assure you, if we don't get a good foundation, their chances for getting a good job gets lower and lower and lower. If you don't believe me, there are people in McDonald's who are competing with degreed individuals. People with college degrees are fighting for entry jobs at McDonald's. That's how competitive our economy is right now. So I told him we were doing a bus, we were following you. If you can do it, parents can do it too. And so we got this bus. I had no clue what I was getting into, but I knew I was going to be working with awesome parents so that we can support education. So it's not about being against teachers or against administrators. We love our teachers, and we must work with them because they are an extension of our families. We must look at teachers like that. Every day we wake up, we get our kids dressed, and we hand them over to, it could be a stranger. Let us be very clear. Some of us know our teachers from the year before, they've been there forever. But most of the time, with the changeovers and layovers, it could be a new teacher. So we have an obligation to be visiting this building every chance you get. You must be your child's first protector and first responder. Now, does that mean we need to support our teachers? Absolutely. Because if a teacher needs support so they can be a better teacher, who is the best cheerleader than the parent? Because we trust the teachers to do what is best for our children, and we trust teachers would teach our children like they would teach their own. And that is what I expect from teachers, but I also expect them to hold me the same way. We cannot say teachers aren't doing this and teachers aren't doing that if they're calling us, if they're emailing us, if they say they need you to come into the school. They need us to be there to see about our children, and parents, we are obligated to see about our children. So enough of that. That's the business end of it, and now we're going to get into the fun stuff. So when I started this tour, I know this is a K through 5th grade? Yes. K through 5th grade schools. But there are a lot of children that are reading below grade level. So I started the Let's Get Ready for Kindergarten. And people are saying, well, my baby's in the 1st and 2nd grade. So I said, thank you. But how is he reading? Right? Because it's not about the adjectives. She looks beautiful today. She got the cute. She comes to school ready. We have to make sure they have the basic foundations of reading. Because if they don't, they will struggle. My daughter is in the 4th grade. I still use Let's Get Ready for 1st grade because I'm still building the foundations of her reading. So she went from reading below basic, now she's reading at proficient. And I told her there's nothing to be ashamed about. We have adults that haven't graduated from high school. Guess what? It's never too late. I didn't get my bachelor's till I was 40 years old. I had a Head Start program. They yelled at me, yada, yada, yada. You need to go back to school. You need to handle your business. Fast forward, I just got my degree. So there's nothing to be ashamed about if you don't know how to support your child at home. But remember, it's not optional. You must support your child. So it means we work with each other, work with tutors, work with other friends and family members to get your child the support. So because it's an older school, I do have some books that I will be giving away. Let's Get Ready for Kindergarten. And for the awesome dad, how many dads we have on the bus? 1, 2, I didn't leave him.
There's a dad down here.
3, I had him covered when he came through the door. So I'm going to be giving away Show Dad How. But Dad, I know you know how because I see him sitting on your lap. So, I had the pleasure of being in a national contest. I thought it was a spam, but it was real. 2010, fast forward, I was entered into a parenting magazine contest. They were choosing one parent from each state across the country. I got an email. Congratulations, you have been selected to go to Georgetown University. I said spam, move. No one just does that, right? So I get in there, I see this thing, I'm going, so a lawyer calls me. Gwen, I don't have children, but I seen you in action, so I entered you in this contest. So I go back in there, they said deadline midnight tonight, the night I looked at it. I send it in, I met parents as awesome as you across the country. And when I say I can call Kentucky, California, Utah, Idaho, Pennsylvania, Ohio, we established a relationship that we still are in today. Because parents, we need to be at the tables that are making the decisions for our children. If we do not, we become the last to know, and guess who loses? Our children. And they're not negotiable. So I get in trouble sometimes from the state because they say, Gwen, you're too straightforward. I got babies. These are real children in real time. So we need to have real conversations. So dads, before we leave, you're going to get a Show Me Dad from Show Dad How from Sean Bean. He's the editor of Parenting Magazine. And I'm working with them now so you all can get a free subscription. When I call them, they say, Gwen, what do you want? Just tell me what you want for your parents in Connecticut, and I just send them what I want. So you have to Show Me How. So at this time, I want to just thank Lisa Lessard.
Hey, Lisa.
Yay, Lisa! And all of you, because if you don't have a mover and shaker, and believe me, she's a thorn in their side too.
There's a school board meeting tonight, by the way. Yeah, that's me.
But there's nothing wrong with being an informed thorn, right? It's okay if you have what you say and you handling business. I know parents, well, I'm not gonna do this. I said, okay, then tell me what you want to do. You don't have an answer for me. So it's not about blaming. We know we need to do better. So let's just do better. So this parent bus is traveling the state and saying, we're going to do better. We're going to make sure we're reading. We're going to make sure we're not ashamed of making mistakes. We're not going to be ashamed and feel intimidated when we have to advocate for our child. And we also will be doing this year round. If we got so much success, I got a waiting list. I didn't even know we had a Terryville. Did y'all know we had a Terryville in Connecticut?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
All right, I didn't know man Waterbury. Give me some, okay, so they're like, we want you in the spring. West Haven parents, awesome like you. So as I get ready to turn it over to Miss Maria, I got hired. I was unemployed, telling all my business. My kids hate it. But we're in this together, this thing called life. I lost my job 2 years ago. So I was unemployed for 2 years. I was one of the 99ers. I should have been in a tent occupying something. Couldn't get a job. So I got hired with Gazelle Institute at Yale University. So that's where I work now. And I work around early childhood and childhood development. So it gave me another perspective on my child. So it's not about just giving him the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. It's also about making sure he has a stable home, a nurturing environment, and just remembering we are in this together. This bus is blended, but at the end of the day, all of our children, 2 teeth growing at the same time, right? Same place. They all did their weebling, wobbling. They fell. Some walked early, some walked late. Some said, "Mom, I'm not doing it." Some babies are still in the belly, not delivering. Some have to have C. So they say, "I don't want to come out in the real world," right? So we're experiencing life equally, different stages, but we're in it together. So I'm hoping we can continue to work together. And if you join the parent union, I'm waiving, it's only $30 a year, but I'm waiving off fees. It's holidays, I can do that because I found it. Oh yes. So there's a paper lease has passed out.
If you didn't get one, please let me know.
Join the Connecticut Parents Union. If you want more about it, you can visit www.ctparentsunion.org. But I'll make sure you get it. I'm speeding. And then I'm going to have Maria, who is my co-worker. She does awesome activities. She really works with the Spanish-speaking population. But she also helps me understand diversity. And when we start to understand each other better, then we'll get out of judgment mode and realizing when we stub our toe, we all say ouch together, right? It still hurts. It doesn't matter what color you are. So at this time, Maria's going to give us a little activity in English and in Spanish, and then we're going to introduce you to Mr. Bernard Thomas. He's around here somewhere, who's going to talk about getting our kids ready, and then we have some great giveaways. So Miss Maria Sierra, take it away.
Hola, buenos días. Good morning, how are you? It is wonderful to see you here this morning.
Anything. Try that again. Did you?
I know. Well, you know what? I kind of like skipped over it. I didn't really think that. You know what? New Haven was, what was it? West Haven was a lot more powerful than y'all.
I'm sorry.
You know what? 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Good morning. In Spanish, buenos días. Buenos días. Muy bien. Okay, I'm going to have to think now. West Haven's going to be second. You all going to be number 1. And I thank you in a round of applause. I'm telling you, the power, el poder que está aquí, the power that's on this bus is increíble. It's incredible. The power that you have inside must be discovered to bring it out. El poder que tiene por dentro tiene que ser descubrido para sacarlo por fuera. As a parent, and I cannot say enough about Gwen. Yo no puedo decir tanto de Gwen porque she is so right on that in the end of it all, who's the one who's crying because our son is having problems? En fin, ¿quién está llorando cuando nuestros hijos tienen los problemas que no pueden leer? They're not reading, or they're bullied, or tienen problemas con los otros niños, or they have other situations. It's you, and it is your right. Es el derecho, and the power that there is belongs to you. Pertenece a ustedes este poder de mover, just as this energy that Gwen has, move and shake your life. So I just want to start off really, really simple with a nice little hello son. On this side, we're going to speak English, and on this side, we're going to do this in Spanish. So our little song goes like this. I know. Because you know what? It doesn't matter, just like St. Gwen says. We have all differences, but the same thing. We're in one accord of moving forward and moving with a power that shakes us all up. And how we can do it, I'm going to start this little song, and you just repeat. Okay? And you probably have already heard it from the preschool, because that's my background. I'm an early childhood consultant. And that's what I do. So we go. Hello. 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 Hello, and how are you? Hello, and how are you? I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I hope that you are too. I hope that you are too. Hola. 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 Hola, ¿y cómo estás? Hola, ¿y cómo estás? Yo bien. Yo bien. Yo bien. Yo bien. Espero que tú también. Espero que tú también. Now you guys have to remember it. Here we go. Do you remember? Go. Hello. 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 How are you? Hello. Okay, now hold on. Hold on. Okay, ready? Hello, and then you're going to say hola. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hello. Hola. Hello. Hola. Hello, and how are you? Hola, ¿y cómo estás? I'm fine. Yo bien. Yo bien. That takes a lot of work, but just the fact is that we come together. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm speaking. Yo estoy hablando los papás que hablan español. And I'm going to speak to those parents who do not have the language. That they say, I can't help my child. Que yo no puedo ayudar a mi hijo. ¿Qué puedo decir? Your mother language, your language at home. La lengua que ustedes hablan en casa es sumamente importante. How many times? There's 3 basic things to have a foundation. Hay 3 cosas básicas para tener una fundación en la educación de sus hijos. Speak. Many times we get into our children and we speak at them. Muchas veces que hablamos con nuestros niños, hablamos hacia ellos. No hablemos con ellos. Conversations are gone. And I was thinking about that. When I was thinking about when I grew up. My father, he was not at that table. Muchas veces estamos creciendo y hacemos las mismas cosas que hemos hecho nuestros padres. Que yo recordaba, mi papá nunca hablaba en la mesa. My dad didn't do it. But it doesn't mean because somebody I didn't have it in my past, I'm not going to put it in my today. Speaking at the conversations at the table. When we're driving, muchas veces estamos manejando, how was your day? What's the answer when they say, how was your day? I'm fine. What was it? Fine. I'm fine. Fine. What's the other one? Great. Good. I don't remember. Okay, from this day forward, este día más para adelante, no more fine or good. No, give me the specifics. And you begin to open up. Piensan a abrir. Que muy bien, ¿cómo está tu día? Bien. ¿Qué es bien? What is good? You know, you're going to open it up. Well, you know what? Tell me what happened. Tell me. Give them open-ended questions. Dales preguntas que no tienen, que son preguntas abiertas. No tienen una respuesta de sí o no. They do not have a yes or no question. My open-ended questions. Well, tell me. Well, what do you think? Well, how did you know? Okay? What's going on in my brain today? ¿Qué está pasando cuando tengo esas preguntas abiertas? Pues dime cómo fue eso. ¿Cómo piensan que llegó? I'm having critical thinking skills up here. And I'm opening up my child. It's so important. At the same time, what's going on? Al mismo tiempo, ¿qué está pasando cuando tengo esas conversaciones? I am bonding with my child. Yo estoy haciendo un efecto muy importante con la relación de mi hijo. Because one thing I know, when I was growing up, una cosa que yo sí sé cuando yo estaba creciendo, many times I did not want to tell my mom what was going on in my life. Muchas veces yo no dije a mi mamá qué estaba pasando, and I made some bad decisions. Like Gwen said, hey, all that is done and gone. Maybe we made some. Hay muchas cosas que hemos pasado en nuestra vida, ya pasó. Pero the communication, que yo estoy abierto, que the communication in my heart with my child is open. That is a priority. Es una prioridad que mi comunicación con mi hijo está abierta. Y como dice Gwen, it begins with the teacher. Comienza con la maestra. Comienza con todo que alrededor de mí. Because he's my responsibility. So when he's got, or she or him, that I brings in that girl or that guy that you know that's not the right one. I've been there. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm the only one. Yo soy la única que no tenía la persona correcta en mi vida. That when my mom says, you know what, that's not for you. That I know that bonding, that effect, that mom, esa es mi mamá, es mi primera. My mom is the first, she's the cheerleader, she's my protector, she understands, and she's my confidant. Que mi mamá es mi protectora, mi mamá es mi persona. So I'm not talking at them. I'm talking with them. I'm talking, I know what I have to bring my children. Yo sé lo que tengo que traer a mis hijos. It begins with you. And one other thing, muchas cosas. As Gwen alluded to the modeling, you are everything. Your teacher, mejor las maestras allá afuera, maybe the teachers are teaching something. You're not even thinking you're teaching, but they're picking up everything. The good, the bad, and I always say, the ugly. Lo bueno, lo malo y lo feo, nosotros somos modelos. So, if I'm picking up a newspaper and I'm reading it every day, I'm sorry, honey, and I'm picking up this newspaper every single day, what are my children seeing? Me?
Reading. Absolutely.
Reading. And I know that it's so important to read because, as Gwen says, the heart of Gwen, el corazón de Gwen is really disturbed. We have a lot of work as parents to do. Enough is enough. We need to get into these buildings. We need to find out what's going on. We need to have that relationship and say, I'm all there for you. What do you need of me? Because I know when at the end of the day, my child's success, research shows, okay? Los estudios muestran y demuestran. The more that I am in school, where my children are being taught, the better they are learning. The more that they're learning, just because you walked into that school. That's research.
Thank you.
Okay? So I want to thank you so much. Remember, the power lies within. Thank you so much. Poder está por dentro.
Okay. That's why I love Maria. She also is my checks and balances because she says, Gwen, you'll be all over the place. So, as we prepare on, remember, what is the goal? I just saw a visual. Where are we trying to get our kids to?
Graduation.
Right, now we're thinking just graduation what? High school?
No.
Right.
School.
So we have to know, but guess what? We have to graduate from preschool to first kindergarten. Kindergarten. Oh, here's the tassels. Oh, I have to give a shout out to the tassels. So remember, if we think college, automatically it can get overwhelming. Because we're just trying to get through tomorrow. Right. So what I need from this bus as we go into Bernard to talk about college readiness, I need a commitment. Nothing less than 100 will do. That you will visit your school at a minimum, irregardless of how much you work. Because yes, we got to work. But that doesn't excuse us for seeing about our children. So is Hopeville leadership here?
Yeah.
Oh! Who is that? The principal?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I am so impressed with the turnout that we had.
Yes, I give you a hug. We're doing it.
How many parents had children here last year or the previous years? Right, now you know, we've gone through a tough stretch over here. I don't know your story over here.
Okay, well, you
tough stretch. And you know that parents really weren't invited into school for years. They were really pushed out the door. And one of my big focuses is to get more parents involved with the school. And I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel wanted. We want you in our building. There's a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of ways to get involved. But one way, I mean, just come in and visit. You're always welcome. Don't feel you can't come in and visit. We're trying to reorganize a parent-teacher organization. We're trying real hard. There hasn't been one here in 10 years.
Well, we got to get one ready, parents.
We had one meeting. We're having a big book bingo night coming up next month. A fun activity for kids and parents. We'll do a little PTA version. Quick meeting too before the fun. But please come and join the fun. I'm glad you all came. And thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. We'll be seeing you. Oh, we have a proclamation for you.
Proclamation.
So, the governor has proclaimed, parents in Connecticut, I want you to know we like so rule. Just get that, you know, we rule. That we're going to give you a copy for Hopeville Elementary School, a signed copy of the governor's proclamation, 'Tis the Season to be Reading. Enjoy it. And you can visit it at all their houses. No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely, I will.
So you put that in the office, and enough for a gallon of gas, but then you fill it up, pour it in something, fill it up. But this, I believe in messaging. At the end of the day, we must support our children. I'm working with a few banks. For those who join the Connecticut Parents Union, we will help you open a college savings account, and we will put the first deposit of $25 in if you become a member. So let's give a shout out for college readiness. All right, Mr. Thomas is going to give a presentation, enough for a gallon of gas, but then you fill it up, pour it in something, fill it up. But this, I believe in messaging. At the end of the day, we must support our children. I'm working with a few banks. For those who join the Connecticut Parents Union, we will help you open a college savings account, and we will put the first deposit of $25 in if you become a member. So let's give a shout out for college readiness. All right, Mr. Thomas is going to give a presentation. Dad? Okay, so from your grandbabies, call my kids, to you, I have a I love my grandpa. I love my grandpa. Do I love my grandpa? With all the gray hairs I'm going to give him. Yes. And who is a grandmother? Was it you?
Yes, two down there.
Two down there? Okay, what do I have for grandma?
Another one.
Okay.
Four.
So, 4 grandmas, and I think I only have, so am I going to have to